Hey gang, it's Ark. Welcome back to Steven's Sausage Roll. Well, it finally happened. A few days ago I sat down to record this, and I made it about 25 minutes into an episode, and realized that I was getting absolutely nowhere. So I decided to scrap that, and I haven't really launched the game since then. So I'm down to these last couple of puzzles, and I had actually been thinking that this episode would probably mostly be me complaining about how these puzzles are designed, and how there's just too many possibilities. Let's see, what's the best way to phrase this? Basically that you just don't want there to be too much extra stuff in the way of the puzzle itself. Well, anyway, in the process of thinking about this, I spent quite a lot of time thinking about this puzzle in particular. I forget what this one is called, Cold Cliff. Because this one, out of the two, is the one that I felt was more reasonable, right? There seems to be a relatively small set of things that can happen here. And one of the things that I had been thinking about a lot is that horizontal piece, the one that I moved up here, it's pretty clear that it needs to sit down just below this ladder. And it either starts there and gets rolled down to the lower part, or it starts in the lower part and gets rolled up. And so, that's one set of possibilities, and you can start to make some assumptions based on that. So for example, if it starts in the upper position and then gets rolled down from there, that has to happen after everything has moved past it. Both of these two pieces have to have rolled past it, and then it gets rolled down in their into the path of where they went. And I don't know why I didn't see this before, but the problem with that theory is that, okay, say you do that, and you get those two pieces off to the right, and then you've rolled the horizontal piece down to the lower part, and that's the last thing that you do. Well, now you're in a position where you have no way to get out of there. Because you don't have access to the ladders. So that's not actually a valid combination. So in the process of thinking about this, I determined that actually the horizontal piece has to start from the lower part, and it has to be rolled back up. So I haven't tested this at all yet. Let's see how accurate my plan is here. And I believe what I want to do is... This is always pretty finicky, getting all these pieces set up the way you want. I believe this is good. And then what I want to try doing is making a stack right here of the vertical pieces. Okay, let's see if this works. And then I want to move this out so we can get access to it. I want to set this up so we can get it on the far side. Let's see. Okay, so now it should be in a position where we can roll it and start it from the back here. And then I would have to get on top of it. So the only way to get down to the level of that piece would be to roll this back. Incidentally, if you're wondering why I've made a stack too high of these, if you just do one piece, then when you push that horizontal piece out, there's no way to push it a second level without also pushing the second piece down, like below the ladder, and then using that to roll over there, and then you're on the correct level to flip it back one more. The other advantage of doing it this way is that now I can actually roll this piece across to the back, which is actually going to turn out really well. Because if I did both of these pieces, if I tried to grill both of these starting from the very... Whoops, that was the wrong thing to do. Starting from the very front here. Or say, you know, you start from this position and you just stand down there and you push these. By the time you grill the second one, you're already trying to burn one side of the first piece. So anyway, this allows us to start from back here. We can get that fully grilled, and it looks like this is indeed going to work. The amusing thing about this is I basically solved this just by thinking about it not in front of my computer when it's been, I believe, 3 days since the last time I played this game. So it really goes to show how well designed and compact this puzzle actually is. That I was able to just hold all the pieces of it in my head and eventually figure out that there was only one way that actually worked. Okay, so now we just push this into place. That's done. Alright, well, we'll definitely go take a look at the other one now. Like I said, this is one that gave me more of a concern. So initially when I was thinking about what to do with this episode, when I had assumed that I wouldn't be able to solve either of these, I had been planning to talk about one major complaint that I do have about the game, and this holds true even with the fact that I managed to solve that, and even if I managed to solve this puzzle. You can't go back and replay. Like, say, this is actually one of the ones that I know. I did something when I solved this tooth puzzle, and I don't think I entirely understood what the method was that I used on it. And it'd be really nice to have the ability to go back and replay that one in particular and figure out what exactly it was that I managed to do, right? Because I was having that issue where the sausage would sit on top of my head, and then if I turned, it would fall, but it would be in the wrong direction. And I don't remember the exact steps that I took to solve the problem I had there, or even what the problem was. And there was another puzzle where you're... there's a single staircase up to a ledge that you start on, and then there's 3 sausages below that. And you stand on top of those, and you essentially do the whole puzzle from on top of those. And the trick is to move all the sausages from where you are on top of them, and eventually get down to the same level that they're on. And that's a puzzle that I remember struggling with, and I remember coming up with a way to get off of them, but I don't remember what the method was. And that's something that I think could have come in handy, perhaps in the puzzle that I just solved, or in this one. So yeah, I think that would have been a nice feature to be able to go back and redo some of the puzzles that have already been solved. Alright, so here's where I am with this puzzle. From the position that we're in here, we can climb up to this ladder, and we can turn, and not a whole lot else can happen. Right? If we try to turn back this way, then we just end up facing the wrong way. This does put us in a position where we can push these out, which is probably going to be very helpful. But apart from that, there's nothing really that we can do here. Now, one thing that I had considered is, well, what if you push these in there? The advantage that this gives you is now you have a place to stand where you can actually navigate over here. And so this could be useful from the perspective of just trying to get over here where I can see how things would interact. Like if I had that other sausage over here, or if I had pushed this one down, I could experiment with what the possibilities are over here. I don't believe this is part of the solution, though. And the reason for that is... Actually, I'm kind of curious. No, I can't do that. Let's see. How do I want to do this? This doesn't help me because then I can't get down. Okay, so I think what I want to do is actually analyze this from a slightly different perspective. Let's say we've got this out of the way, and then we do this. Yeah, this is where I want to be. So this would allow me to, you know, move around on this and get to the other side and all that stuff. But then if we start to ask, okay, once I've done all the things that I want to do, how do I get this back out so that I can grill it? Well, I can't roll it by standing on top of it. I can't spear it from the right or the left. I can't get in a position where I can push it to the right or the left or down. And obviously can't be pushed up. So the only thing I can do is spear it from the end. We haven't really learned a way to undo this yet. Now, technically, there's the argument that I believe this was one of the levels where I was able to lose my fork by stepping off of a ledge with a sausage. And while that might technically work here, we haven't verified this one way or the other. And this is another thing where it'd be really useful to go back to old puzzles. I haven't verified whether I can end the puzzle by standing here without my fork. I believe I won't be able to, because there's a reason that it shows the fork and the orientation as part of what you have to match up with to start and end the puzzles, or at least that's my theory. Alright, so based on all of that, I don't believe that getting over here with this method is part of the solution. So we can discount that. And based on that, we can say that this is not part of the solution. This is only here to get back at the end. Or possibly get back over here multiple times. But either way, it's essentially a one-way path from the right to the left. Okay, so now let's talk about all the things that need to be done here. So if we start looking at what happens with one of these, if we get it into position to start doing some of the grilling. And for the purposes of this, I'm just going to leave this one there, even though we've established that that's not correct. Okay, so one thing we could do is we could push this to the other side. Oh, I can't actually push again from here. That's actually really useful to know. We could do this though. Okay, so now it's on the other side, and then say we were able to get over to the other side through some other method than this, involving that top piece and rolling off the edge, probably. Then from here, we're stuck with the question of, well, how do we get this essentially off by one? So we've done this type of puzzle before. We know we need to spear this thing. Let me go up here and get in position. Let's actually face this way. Okay, so we can get this thing out where we can work with it. We probably want to do everything from this side. So we do something like... we gotta be careful here, because we need to be able to unspear this at the end. I'm actually thinking this does not have a nice solution, because I can't actually unspear. Or, okay, yes I can. Alright, so we do that, then we roll it on, and then we're done. Now I say we're done. Of course, the problem is, then to get this off of here, we have to be on the other side, which means we need to use up our one-way travel. Okay, so that's sort of one piece of the puzzle solved. That's one way that these things can be individually grilled. And I'm seeing something now that I hadn't seen before. If I had another one in position ready to go, then I would be able to do this to spear that in position, which wouldn't burn it, and then back up and get rid of it. And then I would be able to do the other one as well. That's actually really important. Okay, so based on that, I'm going to say that this is probably a good portion of what we need to do here. That needs to be in that position. And let's say this one needs to be one further down. I'm not sure if that's actually right. I'm guessing it's going to need to be the opposite of that, because I need to be able to get onto that right-hand platform. Yeah, let's actually redo this. Okay, so now those are theoretically in position. Head up here. Start off by kicking this over. Now, this is where things get a bit tricky. Okay, so clearly this is no good. We can't do that. Oh, and it's worth pointing out here, even if I did manage to roll this all the way across, It would have to be all the way across. Because I'd have to be able to step off to the right. So let's give this one more shot. This is actually something I hadn't considered at all. Just do this quickly. So I'm going to try putting that in that position. And actually, maybe we just leave them there. I'm actually liking this so far. Okay, so now we can get this into a position where we can take it all the way across. And then we can step off onto here. There's only 2 squares down here, so... I don't see a reasonable argument for trying to roll further than that. Not sure exactly which one I want to do first. Let's, be ambitious and do this one first. That's going to reposition where the top one is. Okay, but this is no good because now when I move down, I'm trapped. Okay, so we actually do have to start with this one, and then we're going to have to move things from the other side before we do anything else. Alright, I don't believe it matters which side I do this from. So we go grab this, and then for right now, let's just say... we go ahead and grill the other side as well. And then we can spear it and get rid of it. Now, let me try that from the other side. So instead we spear it from this side, and now we can get rid of it over here, and that allows us to push it out of the way. Okay, that's probably not going to get in my way now. Alright, so then we need to go up here. And let's push this back into a position where we can work with it. So now I have 2 things I need to be thinking about. The first is that I've got to get this top piece Oh, this is really interesting. Gotta somehow get that top piece off of the bottom piece. So one way to do that, if I just undo all this, once I've got that other piece in the way, I could step back up here. We could just roll this back here. Okay, that's obviously a dead end. Didn't really think that through, because there's no way to get down. Just want to see what the positioning here is. One thing that would be cool that I didn't really consider is what if I could get that, the finished one down to the lower right. What if I could get that into that top left position where it allows traversal of that ladder system, the one-way path. All right, for right now, let's examine other ways in which this could be done. So let's get this pushed over one. And I believe that's as much as I can do, right? Because this would involve stepping onto water. Yeah, I can't push it any further than that. Okay, so then the reasoning behind this idea is we're going to spear this. And then we have to immediately back straight up. I believe we're about to run into a big problem. Because if I do this and unspear myself and go back here... Yeah, so I've now trapped that piece up top. What if I climb that ladder while I'm holding this? Let's see, I'd have to spear it from the right for that to happen. Don't think this is going to work. Let's see, unspear, push it over this way. This is sort of useful. At the very least, I've managed to finish off the... Yeah, I managed to finish grilling that. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. We'd have to do it from this side. Actually, I'm liking this. Okay, so that gets around the fact that I would get it trapped on top of me. Because I can go over here to do the unspear maneuver. And funnily enough, this also technically allows me to... Oh no, this doesn't work. I was thinking that I could climb down from this side. But clearly, once I've gone back over here, I'm stuck. There's no place for me to go over here. I was expecting that to move with it. Interesting. Oops. Let's go over here. Don't see a way to do what I want to do here. Maybe this? Okay, so now I can go back across, in theory. Not really, of course. Maybe this could have been left in a better position. Okay, so two basic options here. And roll it off this way. In which case I have access to this, but nothing else. No way for me to get back around. So that seems to be a dead end for right now. Or I can roll it off this way. Which doesn't put me in a much better position. I'm thinking I might be closer than I realize, and that every strategy that I look at should be done with the idea that that finished one down in the bottom right could have been anywhere this whole time. Or almost anywhere. Alright, well I have a much more positive outlook on this now. We're down to the last puzzle. The one that I already solved today turned out to be not as bad as I thought. And this one I've made a lot more progress on than I had anticipated. So all in all, this was pretty productive. You might have noticed I did slow down my release schedule for these. If you're watching them live, I started doing every other day. I'll probably continue that for a while, just in case things don't go as smoothly in the future. It'll give me a little bit more time to get my recording schedule lined up with the releases. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching.